Hi, it's Dwyer. It is January 16th, 2025. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, understand the theme of my website here, my YouTube channel. You know, life's unfair. There's a big price to be at the top. Right now, Tyson Fury is moping. The public believes he lost that Usyk rematch by a few rounds. It's tough, right? But understand, you get compensated for the stress. If you're at the top, you're the headliner on cards. You're making millions of dollars or millions of pounds, whatever your local currency. Right? So let's be critical here. One of the most underreported stories of 2024 was the fact that in his backyard, Naoya Inoue, one of boxing's exalted, someone who has been on the pound-for-pound list of the best in the sport. Well, that fighter got dropped in front of his fans by Nery. Now, of course, Inoue gets the stoppage later in that fight. Of course, knockouts cause amnesia. We forget how he got dropped. In my favorites folder right now is the video of him getting dropped. I want people to listen carefully to Hall of Famer Tim Bradley on the telecast talk about how Inoue has some bad habits. When you look at the punch, you're going to see Nery lands a clean punch on Inoue's jaw. It's not like Inoue has anything between himself and Nery's punch. Now, the key points to remember is that Inoue, and yes, we hold him to a high standard. It's big news to me when someone who's very highly regarded finds himself on the canvas, has to get off the canvas to win the fight. Understand, if you've been hit and dropped, you easily could have lost your title, because you and I know there are many people who get hit and don't recover for 10 seconds. Now, Inoue is a great fighter. He's a certain first ballot Hall of Famer. But understand, he is high risk defensively. Right? His life has been doling out punishment. It hasn't been protecting himself from punishment. The fight to look at carefully is his first fight with Dwyer, which went the distance. Don't let the knockout of the rematch cause amnesia about what happened in the first fight. We all have problems. Just understand, a great fighter like Inoue can have defensive problems. His competitive advantage comes from his short punching power. But he has to take risks to get close to you. Right? I need for people to understand that even a great short puncher like Joe Louis got dropped in some fights. Right? Max Schmeling. He's dropped twice in the Jersey Joe Walcott fight. Of course, Rocky Marciano knocks him out of the ring. Right? If you're relying on short power and not long power, you're going to be at risk against a cagey vet who understands that sooner or later you're going to have to get in the pocket. Sooner or later, movement is going to matter. So a defensive fighter with a jab to keep Inoue outside, right, who can also hide his head. In other words, Inoue comes in looking for that short punch, and you know how to duck your head. Think Canelo. Think Jay Opataya. And if you're excellent at throwing power counters, again, think Canelo, right? If you come inside and you miss, Canelo has the punching power to knock you out with his very next punch. He does not need a combination. A fighter like that could catch Inoue on the way in and hurt him. Now, Inoue relies on his legs to pick his entry point. It's an underrated part of his game. In other words, he's outside, he's hovering, he sees an opening, he's quick, he's surgical. He jumps in, he has his legs set, he throws the big punch. He's two-handed. Right now, I believe the secret to this fight against Kim is that, in my opinion, an opponent cannot play Russian roulette against Inoue. He cannot target Inoue's body. Right? Understand, body punchers have to have a way to be defensive. If I'm hitting you to the body and my hand is low, that leaves a lot of unprotected real estate, doesn't it? So I've got to be a croucher. Rocky Marciano, right? I have to be able to bend at the waist. Joe Frazier, right? I have to be able to bend. I have to be able to be sudden, right? Throw the body punch, but have it where it's either a well-timed, high-risk counter. Canelo, left hook to the body on Kovalev, right? Where the other guy's just not ready for it. I have it planned where when I throw it, the other guy isn't about to hit me and take me out. Either I have to have the timing down, and it's an existentialist threat, because if my timing's not down, if I reach for Inoue's body and he is one thought process ahead of me, he pivots, and he has a clean shot on my head, I might not beat the 10 count. So body punchers are at significant risk against Inoue. Now just understand, his opponent, the replacement for Goodman, right? The replacement for Goodman is a fighter named Kim, who is a committed body puncher, and at 32 years old is a leopard who cannot change his spots. He's a body puncher coming into this fight. He's going to be a body puncher in this fight, right? This is not the 21-year-old, 22-year-old who's malleable, who's learning a lot of skills, and who can make adjustments. No, you are what you are when you're 32 in this weight class. Maybe heavyweights age more slowly. Maybe a heavyweight can say, you know what, I'm going to do this fight. That's not the case in Inoue's weight class. So understand, I'm expecting Joon Kim to go after Inoue. And when he does, I'm expecting him to get stopped. Right? He's not Nonito Donaire, who can play an outside game, who's going to be moving around the ring, causing Inoue to reset, to rethink when he's going to enter the pocket. No, this guy feels that he can take away Inoue's body. Just understand, combination punchers are risk takers, body punchers are risk takers. Some guys are blessed. They know how to get in, hit your body, and smother you. Right? Roberto Duran, look at the closing sequence of the Inoue fight. His last fight. The Jay Opataya fight, his last fight. Right? Some guys can smother you. I don't think that's going to be the case here. First off, it's harder to smother a short puncher. Inoue doesn't need a lot of space to throw high-power punches. Second, Boxing has rounds, right? Maybe in the first round you can surprise me and smother me. And I'll say, wow, I didn't know this dude was this bold, especially when I have a knockout percentage above 85%, which Inoue has. The problem is, after the 3 minutes pass, if Inoue is still standing, there's going to be a second round. These fights are learning experiences. Inoue, the second time around, is going to realize, okay, this guy's going to try to come inside. He's going to be throwing body punches. That means he's going to be naked up top. That means I'm going to have a clean slate to hit. So, let's talk about the odds for this fight. And let's talk about how we can shorten them. Right? Let me just point out that Inoue is going off, believe it or not, as a 40-1 favorite in some shops. Right? 40-1. How can we reduce that 40-1? That's bet $100 to win $2.50. How can we reduce that 40-1 to something manageable that gives us better than twice the profits we would make betting a 40-1 favorite? How can we also set it up so that if Kim, who took this fight on short notice, in other words, he's seen something on film he thinks he can exploit, right? Given that Kim himself has a KO ratio over 50%, given that Kim is the underdog, is a 15-1 underdog, right? How can we protect ourselves from the possibility of Inoue, who was down against Nery in his last fight, not getting dropped off a body shot from a body shot expert? My favorite way to play this fight is that the fight doesn't go the distance. Folks, you're getting that at 13-1. Right? To me, that's better than the 40-1. Right? I'll take the 13-1. Understand how high-powered both of these guys are. This is a 13-1 bet that the fight doesn't go the distance. And I'm actually taking it. I like the 13-1 bet that the fight doesn't go the distance. Let's get crazy here. You're a speculator. And you're privately thinking to yourself, Inoue might be overbought here. Right? 40-1, is he really a guy who could beat this opponent 40 times out of 41 fights? Didn't he get hit flush in his last fight? Am I even certain that he could beat Nakatani? If you're a daredevil and you see Kim by stoppage staring you in the face at 35-1, let me just talk about different levels of speculators. If you're a hedge bettor and you want to throw a couple of dollars on Kim by stoppage at 35-1, one scenario would be to bet $130 that the fight doesn't go the distance. Right? Understand, if you win that bet, you win $10. Then think about taking 2 of the $10 that you're expecting to win, or 3 of the $10 you're expecting to win, and putting it on Kim by stoppage. Understand how it plays off if you're right. And to be right, you need a stoppage. Right? If Inoue gets the knockout, you clear $8. right? You hit on the 13 to 1, right? It's a minus 1300 in American odds. So for the $130 that you put out there, you win $10. Minus the $2 in throwaway money that you've thrown away on Kim by stoppage. So you win $8. Right? Of course, your exposure was $132 to win $8. Right? So if you're a speculator who thinks there's no way this fight goes 12 rounds, that's the play to consider. Just understand the risk involved. As good as Inoue is, a KG vet, Dwyer, went the distance against him. Right? Kim, for all his problems and for the low level of his opposition, past opposition, is 32 years old. He's a KG vet. Right? You need to ask yourself, is this the kind of guy who can make an adjustment at 32 years old to be on his back foot, to hide his upper body? I don't think so. But it's your money, it's your decision. Now, just understand if you're completely right. Let's say lightning strikes. Kim gets the stoppage. You win both halves of the bet. Let's talk about what that means. That means I bet $132, right? $130 on the fight not going the distance. So I win $10 there because the fight wouldn't go the distance if Kim gets the stoppage. Right, so I get the $10 there. Right, plus of course the return of my $130 that I put down. But then I also get back, if I bet $2, on Kim by stoppage, I get back $70. Plus the return of the $2. If I'm a risk taker and I bet $3, then I get back 3 times 35. Right, then I get back $105. Let's say this entire exercise, is just to set up a framework where I break even if Inoue gets the KO. But I make a bounty if Kim gets the KO. Right? Let's say you're the kind of bettor who places some bets thinking to yourself, this isn't going to hit, but I'm okay, as long as I break even on it if it doesn't hit. If it does hit and I have a shot at the penthouse, why wouldn't I take it? Right? Let's say you're the kind of investor who is looking at altcoins with ridiculously high upside. And you're thinking to yourself, Caspa, how long is it going to take the public to figure out this is proof of work? Like Bitcoin, only better. Right? You're thinking to yourself, wow, that might never happen. But if it does, since the coin is selling today at less than 15 cents a coin, I can literally buy hundreds of these coins. And if it hits, I'm retired. For this fight, let's say I bet $130 to win $10, that the fight doesn't go the distance. And let's say I turn around and I bet the $10 I expect to win on the underdog, the last minute replacement, Kim, the body puncher. And let's say he delivers. Then on an outlay of $140, right? $130 on the fight not going the distance. 10 more bucks on Inoue's opponent. I would net 10 times $350. Right? $350 minus the $130. In fact, that's not right. I would net 10 times 350. 10 times 35 Folks, it's been a long morning. 10 times 35, that's 350. Then I would also collect on the fight not going the distance. I would get back my 130. Plus, I would get back $10 in winning off that play. Do the math. You would end up clearing $360. That's if you're an extreme speculator, a repeat bettor, who understands that if it blows up in your face, you lose $140, right? If the fight goes to a decision, you can turn off your TV. You don't even care what the judges say at that point because you've already lost. Understand the risk involved. The play I like is the fight doesn't go the distance, right? Bet 130 to win $10. Then take 2 to 10 of the expected winnings and bet it on the underdog by stoppage. But again, understand the risk involved. You lose it all if the fight goes the distance. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. You got a short puncher who's one of the major knockout punchers of our time, who at times is defensively inattentive. He's fighting a guy who comes inside with both hands and tries to take out your body. Throws headshots as well, but his competitive advantage are his body shots. In my favorites folder right now, I have the knockdown by Nery of Inoue last year. That's Inoue's last fight. I also have Kim teeing off on a guy. And you see how Kim steps in the pocket and is a determined body puncher, but who leaves himself defensively open. It's high risk. Understand, too, the different storylines here. This could be a guy who has always wanted to fight in a way, who has a chance now, and is stepping in against a fighter he knows he can beat. Or this could be a 32-year-old who wants that last big payday. Right? They say, in a way, it could be Pancho Villa, a legendary fighter. Right? Some 32-year-olds will say, you know what? I only have maybe another year left in boxing. This is my chance at perhaps the biggest payday of my life. What do I have to lose here? I'll go in, I'll take the money, and then I'll see how the stars align. Right? Just to understand what I'm proposing here. If it's either, if Kim thinks he can really beat Inoue, he's going to try to do so on his front foot, throwing body shots. This is a guy with a 60% KO ratio. If Kim is just there for the payday, he's not going to be still standing at the end of this fight against one of this generation's blessed punchers. Those are my thoughts. I look forward to hearing yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. By the way, the odds I'm giving, you can find them on FanDuel. Right? I'll leave a link to the betting lines on Odds Checker in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.